let us talk about how we can educate children to become happy, responsible, and successful when they grow up. To achieve this, it is necessary to include parents, since they play a huge role in the lives of children. Laying the foundations for education in cooperation with parents is essential for accomplishing this noble goal. Here is what experts in early childhood education say about teacher-parents cooperation. Working with parents facilitates more effective support for educators' effort and vice versa. When parents and educators keep each other informed, they contribute to the overall monitoring and development of the child. One of the tasks of kindergarten is to educate parents as natural educators. And most importantly, teacher-parent cooperation facilitates a common educational approach which is beneficial for a child. Because I was very conscious of this, I have tried to establish this cooperation from the beginning of every school year. Let me explain how I did that. I invited both parents to be present at the first parent meeting if possible, and explain that we will talk about how can we raise children to be happy, responsible, and successful in life, and that the meeting will take 1.5 hours. I have created nice poster for that and put it on a board in the front of the classroom. And from now on, I will show you how I establish trust, cooperation, and a common educational approach with parents. So, imagine now that you are a parent of a child that is in my classroom. The age of the child is not important. I have used the same approach with all age groups. Are you ready? Let's begin. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for coming and taking time from your busy schedule. I will do my best to make it valuable for you and beneficial for your child. Today, we will talk about how to raise children to become happy, responsible, and successful adults. I'm sure that is a dream of every parent. But how can we do it in the midst of such a contradictory information? Would you like to know how we, as professionals, work with children? Here, most of the parents start nodding and saying yes. Okay, let me start with a famous quote. I must say, it was not so famous among parents in my country. The quote goes like this: all I really needed to know, I learned in kindergarten. Most of what I really need to know about how to live, what to do, and how to be, I learned in kindergarten. These are the things I learned. Share everything. Play fair. Don't hit people. Put things back where you found them. Clean up your own mess. Don't take things that aren't yours. Say you are sorry when you hurt somebody. Wash your hands before you eat. Live a balanced life. Learn some, think some, and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and smile every day. By Robert Fulghum. Let me now explain what are the foundations of a good education in our school. The first pillar presents clear boundaries. The second pillar presents consistency in education. The third pillar presents independence encouragement. The fourth pillar presents being a good model. The roof of the building must be unconditional love, which protects everything. And the foundation for our education must be common sense. By setting boundaries, we teach a child what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad, what is safe and what is dangerous. We teach him that every action has consequences. We teach him self-regulation, values, and socialization. A child who has clearly defined boundaries feels safe and happy. This is how we teach happiness. In preschool years, a child must learn that every action he or she takes has consequences. This is our responsibility. We teach responsibility by making it clear to a child what are the consequences if his actions are appropriate and what are the consequences if his actions are inappropriate. We need to take actions consistently, without compromises and yelling, without anger and guilt. In this way, a child learns that his or her actions have consequences. And this is how we teach responsibility. How do we encourage independence? This is quite a challenge for mothers. We encourage independence by allowing a child to do it on his own. Every new skill a child learns builds his confidence and positive self-image. Yes, I can do this. By allowing a child to do it on his own, it takes more time, but it is worth it in the long run. Let me now tell you a story about butterfly. A man found the cocoon of a butterfly. One day, a small opening appeared. He sat and watched the butterfly for several hours as it struggled to force its body through that little hole, until it suddenly stopped making any progress and looked like it was stuck. So the man decided to help the butterfly. He took a pair of scissors and snipped off the remaining of the cocoon. Butterfly then emerged easily, although it has a swollen body and small shivered wings. The man sat there, waiting for the wings to enlarge to support the butterfly. But that didn't happen. The butterfly spent the rest of its life unable to fly, crawling around with the tiny wings and a swollen body. Despite the kind heart of the man, he didn't understand that the restricting cocoon and the struggle needed by the butterfly to get it through the small opening were the God's way of forcing fluid from the body of the butterfly into its wing to prepare itself for the flying once it was out of the cocoon. What can we learn from this story? We can learn that a child's struggle in life develops his strength. Without struggles, he never grows and never gets stronger. So he needs to tackle challenges by himself as much as possible. So allow your child to do it on his own and experience success. In this way, we teach children how to be successful. What kind of model are we for our children? This we should ask ourselves whenever we are around children. Do you know that the most influential form of education is modeling from adults? That is why being a good model is so crucial. There is a saying that well illustrates that. It says, "The apple doesn't fall far from the tree." Therefore, work on yourself and recharge your batteries regularly. Go for a walk, read, meditate to be the best version of yourself. We can give only what we have. Are we focusing only on material wealth and neglect spiritual? It is love that gives meaning to life. The greatest wealth we can give to a child is to teach him how to love. That is done through genuine love between parents. It is important to understand that real love is decision to persevere in good in the face of trials. Children are the fruits of parents' love. Work on your relationship with your spouse, and your children will flourish. Put your partner first, not children. For example, when you come home, kiss your partner first, then your children. A loving relationship between parents is the best long-term life investment. We already started to talk about love, but what is love? Love is respect. Love is accepting people as they are. Love is giving our time, energy, and ourselves. Most likely, you will agree that when things don't go as we expected, it is easier to get angry than to love. Why is it easier to be angry than to love? Because it is easier to destroy than to build. When we love, we build, and when we are angry, we destroy. It is important that we are accepting and loving a child for who she or he is. And it is also important that we allow a child to develop to his full potential and express himself fully. To love doesn't mean allow him everything, give him everything, and do everything instead of him. No, to love means to educate for life, to have a long-term view. What a particular situation will teach a child in the long run. For example, when a child is making a scene because we don't fulfill every wish he has, and if we fulfill his wish just for the sake of peace and because we don't want to be embarrassed, what do we teach a child? Yes, we teach him that he can get what he wants with force. And that is definitely not our goal. It is love that helps us grow mentally, spiritually, and children also physically. Love is the most powerful force in the world. Think about that. when you feel helpless, hopeless, or sad. Love is the answer to every situation. And if we act from the place of love, miracles happen. I said earlier, the foundation of education must be a common sense. I would like to quote Ms. Locker because she really nicely explained why common sense is essential in education of young children. In the flood of manuals, advice, and educational guidelines from various experts, parents who do not have enough confidence in themselves and in their educational methods, which may be entirely appropriate and adaptable to the child, get completely lost in them. They uncritically, unsuitably adapt and stress the child with all kinds of guidelines and instructions. It is quite obvious that in all this, they lose their authenticity and ultimately their common sense, which is most often more appropriate than modern guidelines. Common sense is therefore the foundation on which all our educational activities should be based. Let us once again look at our building. We have common sense as a foundation of the building. Then we have a first pillar, clear boundaries. Second pillar, consistency in education. Fourth pillar is independency, encouragement. And the fourth pillar is being a good model. And the roof of the building is unconditional love. Thank you for your attention, and let's begin with our workshop.